If I vote for a Democrat or a Republican,
Republicans and independents voted for Biden.
If I claim I'm non-emotional,
come on, man. It's a nice podcast, but you gotta fucking deal in facts.
Joe, you can get up and leave. I'm totally fine with that. We'll open the door for you.
I may, and it's
woke ideologies, identity politics, and the constant push to redefine fundamental truths. Is this what America has become? On today's Black Coffee podcast, we're pushing back against the divisive narratives and getting back to the principles that made this country great. If you're looking for common sense in a world that seems to have lost it, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about a phenomenon we see way too often in the political landscape. The performative independent, the person who wants to sound reasonable and above the fray, but when push comes to shove, ends up enabling the very policies they later complain about. And yes, I'm talking about figures like Joe Walsh.
Are glad you voted for Biden, and you said you're happy you did.
Yeah.
So you've had a year and a half to assess that vote,
and
you're still happy about it.
I don't regret that vote.
Okay, so what do you think? What the situation today? The situation we're in today. Why are we in the situation we are today?
No, stop, my friend.
Exactly. Let's get emotional.
Listen.
Why are we in the situation we are today? Tell me.
I asked you a specific question.
Which is what?
Am I a Democrat?
Based on what you're saying that you don't regret your vote, of course you're a Democrat.
That makes me a Democrat, even though I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a registered Democrat.
Because you supported policies of a Democrat.
Pat,
if I vote for a Democrat or a Republican,
Republicans and independents voted for Biden.
If I claim I'm non-emotional,
come on, man. It's a nice podcast, but you gotta fucking deal in facts.
If I claim I'm non-emotional, which you're saying you're not, okay.
Pat,
if I claim I'm not, what part of your vote today?
Did independents vote for Biden in 2020?
What part of your vote today?
He just doesn't listen.
Because
Now, I've been catching clips, and frankly, it's astounding to see the mental gymnastics some folks will engage in to avoid admitting what their choices actually mean. We saw it play out. This insistence on not being a Democrat, almost an allergic reaction to the label, while simultaneously defending a vote for a man whose policies, let's be honest, are pretty clearly aligned with a certain political ideology. It's like saying you dislike the taste of sugar, but happily devour a candy bar. What really gets under my skin is this refusal to own the consequences of one's actions. You cast a vote, and that vote has real-world implications, to then stand back and say, well, I'm not technically a Democrat, so don't hold me accountable for any of this mess. Just doesn't cut it. It's a level of intellectual dishonesty that's frankly insulting to the rest of us who are living with the fallout of these decisions.
Answer my question
yet. How much
yet.
longer is this, guys?
You haven't answered
I'm having a ball.
You haven't answered my question yet.
No, I'm sitting 5 feet from you.
I get that, 3 feet.
Listen,
so
3 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you to your face, I am not a registered Democrat.
What part of the policies you voted for are you happy with today?
I'm not happy with... Let me finish a thought,
I want to hear it. Policies.
As I've said before, I'm not happy with the vast majority of policies Biden has done.
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat. I don't regret my vote.
Yeah.
Plenty of independents and Republicans voted for Biden too, Pat. They're not Democrats. Maybe they regret their vote, but they're not Democrats.
But that's a difference, though.
No, you called me a Democrat,
No, that's a different, though. You supported...
You know what? You're un-American.
You supported Democratic
policy. You're un-American.
You can't say that. Why would you say that?
It's your opinion.
Because he's calling... No, exactly.
It's your opinion.
How stupid, Adam, is it for me to say that?
But if you can...
It's not true.
If you can validate the point...
But Pat sits there and says, I'm a
Democrat.
Democrat.
But if you validate the point, I'll take it.
I love you, man, and this isn't emotional.
If you validate the point, say it.
But there's no point.
Well, Pat,
then tell me your policies.
There's no point.
What policies you voted for?
Let's look beyond just the label. The sources highlight this very exchange where the question becomes not what you call yourself, but what policies you actually supported and how you feel about them now. And what do we see? Deflection, emotional outbursts, and a desperate attempt to avoid a straightforward answer. It's the classic tactic of someone who knows their position is weak but can't bring themselves to admit it. And this brings me to the concept of being woke, a term that's thrown around a lot. Now, in the context of these sources, it seems to be used to describe someone who voted Democrat specifically for Biden and yet won't acknowledge the negative outcomes or admit it was a mistake. It's about a certain kind of willful blindness, a refusal to see reality clearly because it might clash with a previously held position or identity. My take on it is this. Woke, in this context, isn't just about social justice buzzwords. It's about a broader intellectual conformity within certain circles. It's about being so invested in a particular narrative that you're unwilling to critically evaluate the results, even when they're staring you in the face. And that, to me, is far more dangerous than simply holding a different political opinion. It stifles honest debate and prevents us from learning from our mistakes.
Pat,
are you happy for the vote?
Pat?
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you a damn thing if you continue to call me a Democrat.
Then tell me what policies you don't support.
No.
Then tell me what policies you don't.
I'm not.
Then
I'm a Democrat.
Because tell me the policies.
Hey, Tyler, how much longer?
Tell me the policies.
Okay.
Joe, you can get up and leave. I'm totally fine with that. We'll open the door for you.
I may, and it's
you do,
Joe. You're going to be fine.
No,
you're going to stay there. You're good.
No. I'm totally okay with that. If you,
this is not emotional.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
So then give me a logical answer. Yeah, you said it's not emotional.
I left the Republican Party 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
I did not join the Democratic Party. I am an independent right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do not call me a Democrat.
But tell me what policies you supported that today are working, of Biden's policies.
I'd have a hard time picking. I can give you one.
Sure.
I'm glad Biden got us out of Afghanistan.
Now Walsh brings up Afghanistan, and it's a fascinating example. He says he's glad Biden got us out. And okay, I can see the argument for ending a long-term engagement. But to point to the manner of that withdrawal as a positive, to ignore the chaos, the optics, the abandonment of allies, that to me speaks volumes. It's like praising someone for putting out a fire after they poured gasoline on it. The objective might have been achieved, but the execution was a disaster. And to gloss over that is, again, a form of intellectual dishonesty. And this is where the hypocrisy really shines through. You can't claim to be a clear-eyed independent thinker while simultaneously downplaying or excusing blatant failures. Where is the outrage? Where is the critical analysis we'd expect from someone who supposedly stands outside the partisan fray? Instead, we get defensiveness and a focus on labels rather than substance. From a Republican perspective, this kind of stance is incredibly frustrating. We believe in accountability. We believe in owning our decisions, good or bad. We believe in a robust debate based on facts and results. And when we see someone who seems more concerned with their personal image or avoiding a label than with an honest assessment of the state of affairs, it's hard not to see it as disingenuous.
Infrastructure bill, that of the bipartisan infrastructure bill that Biden signed into law. Those are two that I approve. The vast majority of things Biden did, I don't support.
So you support the way we left Afghanistan?
Absolutely. I support us getting out of Afghanistan.
Let's clarify that. Do you support us getting out, or you support the way we left?
I'll answer that. I supported us getting out.
Because that started under Trump and the Doha agreements.
Hey, my friend. Yeah, that was a promise of Trump's that I supported. And I'm glad Biden got it done. And I believe that any way we would have gotten out of Afghanistan was going to be ugly and messy, and it was. But I respect Biden for having the balls for doing it.
So the point isn't necessarily that everyone who voted for Biden is a raving socialist. Of course not. There were likely many reasons people cast their ballots the way they did. But when you've had a year and a half to see the results, as the sources point out, and your best defense is, well, I'm not a Democrat, instead of a clear articulation of what policies you support and what you don't, and a willingness to acknowledge any misjudgments, that's a problem. We as conservatives need to be clear about this. It's not enough to just say, I'm an independent. Your voting record and your public statements matter. Your willingness to critically evaluate the actions of those you helped put in power matters. Because ultimately, it's not about the labels we wear, it's about the direction of our country. And right now, many of us believe we're heading in the wrong direction. And those who enabled this path, regardless of their self-proclaimed affiliation, need to be held accountable. So, the next time you hear someone like Joe Walsh trying to dance around their voting record and avoid taking responsibility, remember this conversation. Remember that true independence isn't about the label. It's about the willingness to think critically, to speak honestly, and to own the consequences of your choices. And frankly, we're seeing far too little of that these days. That's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more honest, no nonsense commentary like this.